right, hello. I am Elise Schrader. I am a member of the New Professional and Student Committee for NCPH, and I am also the Collections Associate for the Senator John Heinz History Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I have a bachelor's in history with a concentration in public history from Ball State University, and I graduated December 2019. I also have a master's in history with a concentration in public history from IUPUI, which is now IU Indianapolis, and I graduated December 2022 there. Tips and tricks for grad school, applying to grad school, really start as soon as possible. Researching different schools, different programs, really figure out where you think you would fit in best, whether it's museum studies, public history, archives, library science. There's a lot of different ways to get a degree and get into the field. So really just like what you feel comfortable with based on internships, classes, talking with different professionals in the field, your professors, what kind of experience they have, just kind of like gathering as much information as you can. I always knew I'd have to get a master's degree, so this is something I'd been considering throughout my entire undergraduate program, but junior year is where I really started to think about it, and really kind of like focus in on what I wanted and where I thought I would be going. And then by the summer between my junior and senior year is where I decided what schools I was going to apply to. I had 3 that I had picked out, 2 on the East Coast, 1 in Indiana. I'm from Indiana. I did my undergraduate degree in Indiana, and so I was kind of really looking forward to getting out and doing something different, experiencing something different, really just kind of getting out of my comfort zone. And so the 2 East Coast schools were really my kind of where I was really focusing. But it's always good to have an in-state school, in-state tuition, just something to consider, just like to look at. And so that's why I was applying to IUPUI. I also knew it was a really good program. With great professors. I'd heard a lot about it at Ball State, and so I knew that was also something that it would be kind of foolish for me not to also be looking at that school and applying to it. So that was my summer, so I definitely say before you start your senior year of undergrad, I think you definitely need to have it kind of like what school you're looking at kind of nailed down and like what programs you're interested in. And then the next step is just to be very aware of when applications open and when applications close. I know a lot of schools have very similar closing times, but you can't always assume that. I had one application that closed maybe a month before the other 2, and so that was my top priority, the one that I knew I needed to get done first, need to have everything ready. Made sure the people that I was asking for letters of recommendation that they were ready to go, they had all the information they needed, and they had plenty of time to just sit down and write a letter for me. It's very important that you give them enough time to do that. You really want them to have the time to think about the work that you've done, how you work with them, how they see you fitting into that school that you're applying to, how you would benefit that school. And so you really want to give them time to like really kind of like talk you up and give you a good letter. So that was, for me, that would have been like end of 2019, I think is when I finished all my applications. And then I graduated early, which I lucked out. I missed the beginning of COVID in schools. But it also meant that my first year of grad school was all online. So I was receiving my acceptances and making my decision for grad school in the middle of COVID. And so that definitely, I think, played a big part for me. Just kind of considering things, different opportunities. What it really came down to when I was considering, it came down to 2 schools. And the main things I was looking at was funding and internship opportunities. For IUPUI, I was guaranteed 2 internship opportunities, one in my first year, one in my second year, and then both of those had stipends. And then IUPUI, I got in-state tuition, which is always nice, but I also got a tuition remission. So not only was my tuition significantly less, enough that I would be able to pay for it myself, I was also going to be getting a stipend. So that was a big thing for me. Also, the internship opportunities. Internships are a big thing in any field, but I think especially in this field, a lot of the things that you do in your day-to-day job and your everyday work, you need experience to do that. You need to have that internship experience. I know some people that did their undergrad and graduate programs with no internship experience, could not get a job. So I really don't think I can say it enough. Internships are extremely important in this field, and so if you can find a program that will help you get an internship, will provide you with an internship, that is extremely valuable, and definitely something to take note of. The other school that I was considering, it was on the East Coast, big city, had tons of museums, public history organizations around it, and so while there would be plenty of opportunities, none of them were guaranteed to me, which isn't a bad thing. It's not bad to have to apply and go through that process, but just also considering, for me, what I was considering, the stress of the unknown, of having to put in that extra time, that extra effort to go through all of that work, to apply for a bunch of different positions, and then maybe not even hear back at all, or to do like 2 rounds of interviews and not get the position. So all of that on top of having to go to school, worrying about making money because I'm living in a higher cost of living city, just felt very overwhelming to me. Just trying to juggle everything. And then the other thing was funding. So it was a private school, which meant higher tuition. They did provide a little scholarship, but nothing that would cover a significant amount, so I would still have to take out loans. And I did take out loans for my undergrad, but luckily it was like minimal. And so I wasn't thrilled about the idea of having to take out even more. And what I was thinking was, in this field, it's well known that salaries are typically lower than other fields, especially when you're starting out. And so the idea of getting a job with a lower starting salary, but having to pay back this large amount of loans, again, was very overwhelming to me. Not something I was thrilled about. And so in the end, I decided that while the East Coast school sounded amazing, and I'm sure is amazing, it just wasn't the right choice for me based on what I felt comfortable with, what risks I was willing to take, and just how much I was willing to kind of like put myself out there in terms of financial stability, I guess, for me. So that's why I decided to go to IUPUI, and it worked out very well. Like I said, my first year classes were all online, and then my second year, luckily, last year I was able to do in-person classes, kind of actually get to meet everybody, which was great. Just kind of get that small grad school experience, I guess. But yeah, so I guess the bottom line is to make sure you know what programs you're interested in. You've done your research on that. Make sure you know your dates for your applications, when they open, when they close, and that you're giving your letters of recommendation, your writers, enough time to prepare that for you. And then find out what you think is important for you in grad school. Like, what are the big factors that are make or break for you? Like, for me, it was for funding and internships. So, like, what is that for you? What is going to make you say, that's not something I'm willing to put myself through at this moment? So, really just like kind of sit down and consider that. And really just make sure you are making a choice that you feel comfortable with, and that you think will help set you up better for like what you want to do after grad school. Yeah, I think that's it. Good luck.